Good morning, Stampers. Welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today's episode, we are going to do inlaid glitter technique. Now, it can get messy because you know how glitter is, it gets everywhere. But it's a really fun technique that basically you're painting your card with glitter. And they're fun, they're glittery, shiny. Today's card, we're going to do this one. Now I picked a kind of detailed die, and as much as that seems it's going to be difficult, it really isn't. So this is the one we're going to work on today. So you'll need some supplies. You need chipboard. Chipboard is a thick kind of cardboard. They sell it at the craft store, but there's no need to go get that. What I use, you know, your designer series paper, the cardboard that comes in the package, works perfectly. So we've got some of that. We're going to use that as chipboard, and then a piece of cardstock. I'm using white. Now on this technique, you can use colored cardstock. It'll just make whatever your background or your images are that color. So we're just going to do it with white. And to prep it, we already know that the die that we're using is minimum 4 inches by 5.5. So we're going to create our chipboard to that size. And the idea of using chipboard is that when you use your die on this technique, is that your die is not going to cut through all of your card. So this piece, we're designing it not to cut all the way through this. So let's do that. We're going to start. The easiest way is let's do the chipboard first. Bring in the trimmer. Now you can do this with dies if you don't think you can get your piece exactly cut the same. You need all three of your 2 pieces of chipboard and your cardstock all cut the same. You can do it like I did here and just use a circle die, or if you have a rectangle die, you can do that, and that way you're guaranteed that all your pieces are going to be the exact same size. But we're just going to do it the easy way, and we're going to do a size 4. So we're going to do 4 by 5.5. And we need a second piece, so we're going to go 4 by 5.5. And you do need to use glue for this. You could use really good adhesive tape, double-sided tape, but I found glue just guarantees that your pieces aren't going to come apart. So we're going to glue these 2 pieces together, and while they're drying, we can work on our top piece. So I'm making sure I've got my edges kind of nice, and we're going to glue them together. And the other thing with glue is you have the opportunity to shift it around to make sure it's even. So there you go. I'm going to make sure that's secured down. And while that's drying, we're going to work on our main piece. Now, normally, and I will put the link in the video, normally you would just use your Sizzix double-sided adhesive sheets for this, but I'm out. So you can also use double-sided adhesive tape. This is just some I've had. It's 2 inches wide, and we're going to prep our piece of paper here. Oh, let me grab a pair of scissors that I didn't bring my scissors to the party. All right, so now we're going to prep this piece, and we're going to put our double-sided tape on it. And when you're using it this way, or if you're even using your sheets and you're using pieces, just make sure it's butted up right up against your other piece, so you don't have any gaps in adhesive. Oops. My scissors left the party. I'm going to add one more small piece here. Okay, so we have this prepped, and it's glued to the table. This is how my Sunday morning's going here. Okay, so now we need this piece to be the same size as our chipboards, which is 4 by 5.5. So I want to make sure I trim this where I don't have adhesive. I think I'm gonna trim some of this off here, so it's a little easier to go into my trimmer. And now if you were using dies, you would just die cut your piece out of here. Your circle or your square or your rectangle. But I'm going to trim this off. Get my straight edge. There's our straight edge. So we know we need this to be 4 and this to be 5.5. So let's go over here. Kind of hard because I overlapped. If you're using your adhesive sheets, they're a little easier than, you know, tape having the edges. So let's do our 4. Now we need 5.5, so I'm going to trim and get myself some straight edges here. And now we need 5.5. There we go. So we have our piece. And now we're going to bring back our press board, which the glue should be set pretty well by now. And we're going to glue this piece to the top of our press board. And being that it has glue, you can make sure you're even up on your edges. Now a lot of times you can set something on this, let it dry. I did a really thin coat, so we should be okay. Before you run it through your machine, you don't want glue oozing out on your cutting machine. Okay, so now we have our piece that our die is going to fit on. We're going to bring in the big shot. For the big shot, you're going to use your regular platform plate. Let me move this into camera for you. You're going to use your regular platform plate, one of your plates, and we're going to take our image, or our die, line it up on here. Now you can use a piece of washi tape to hold it into place if you need to, because if you're using the plate, there's no magnetic. But I'm going to just lay it where I need it, and then I usually tilt my plate up and then lay straight down. And that keeps your die from moving. Now that's a slick surface there. And then we need just one shim, and I'm just using a scrap piece of cardstock to give me a shim. and run it through our machine. Oops, I think I moved it. I did. This is where putting washi tape is a smart idea, to make sure your dye stays where it needs to stay. But I'm going to try that one more time. You know why? Because I'm too lazy to go get my washi tape. But I think we got this. So we're going to run it through our Big Shot. You're going to feel the pressure of like it's cutting. Doesn't need to be a lot. It doesn't need to cut super deep. But I'm going to run it back through. And then when you peel it off, you'll see that it's only cut through the clear protector sheet. Okay, so now we have our sheet prepped with our impression into the top of the non-stick uh, coating. And now we're going to color it with glitter. So what I want to do is I want to show you two different ways that you can do this. So the first way, I'm going to peel off. I want to do my edges of my butterflies. So I'm going to peel off the protective coating around that. Sometimes you have to use a little pair of tweezers. So we'll get all those off. Okay, so I've got all the protective coating around my outlines of the butterfly off. Now the first way to show you how to do this is just direct glitter. So what I have here, well, I have all these glitters that I got early on when I started crafting. They're just an inexpensive recollections glitter. So I'm picking black because I want my butterflies outlined in black. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to bring in a piece of scratch paper to catch the glitter. And you're going to sprinkle it on. Then you're just going to rub it in to the sticky part of the image. Just use your finger, kind of buff it in there. It's not going to stick where you haven't peeled off any protective coating. So make sure it's in there really well. Kind of just move it around and rub it in there. Make sure you've got them covered really well, because then nothing else will stick to it. And I missed part of his body right here, I just see. Let's see if I can pick that up. There we go. Sometimes it's hard to see the protective coating, but you'll see it as soon as you start doing this. So we're going to make sure that's all rubbed in there real well. And then tap it off. Now you can wipe off the excess two different ways. You can use a little brush and just brush it off, or you can use a dryer sheet. You can take your dryer sheet and just kind of buff over it, and it picks up the excess glitter. Or you can just take a semi-soft brush and just brush it off. Sometimes it works better with the dryer sheet because there is a little bit of static on here. So I just take that and kind of finish it off. I think it's pretty just like that. Okay, so I'm going to move this aside and I'll put it back in my container when we're done. And now there's two different ways you can do this. You can do it exactly like that with different colors of glitter. Or let's start with this little, we'll do this little butterfly and I'll show you the other way to do it. You take off your protective coating. It's not always as easy as it seems. Should be. It helps to have a little pair of fine tip tweezers to get these out of here. So if you don't have assorted colored glitters, here's how you do it the other way. You take your regular ultrafine glitter, which this is Dazzling Diamonds. It's a clear glitter. And you sprinkle it over your adhesive area, rub it in. Make sure it's rubbed in well. It's not going to stick to where your black already is or your first glitter because you've already covered the adhesive. So with it done like that, he's just white. But what we'll do is we'll take our Stampin' Blends. Now this won't hurt your markers. I mean, be gentle. I mean, don't grind it into the glitter. And I see I missed one of my adhesives here. So I'm going to go back and add my clear back to that because I missed a spot. Tap it off. And now you're going to take your Stampin' Blend marker and I'm going to start with my yellow and you're just going to color your glitter. A lot of times I'll just kind of wipe off the tip of my marker and we can blend in with the orange. So you're just coloring your glitter, but since it's fine tip glitter, it'll stay shiny. And doing it this way also, the other good thing about doing it with your blends is you can actually blend your colors like you would if you were just coloring the image, and they'll blend. So there's our first way, and you can do that with multiple images. Flowers, anything like that. And see, we've got our two-tone in there and he's still shiny. So now for the other way, like we did the black, I'm going to use glitters and you'll see the difference. I kind of like doing it with the colored. I think it's a lot more vibrant. But now we're going to peel off some of this. And it's going to be a little bit more tedious to get these little ones out, but that's okay. We're going to pop them out of there. And then I'm going to show you how to blend your glitters. Because it'll still blend with glitter powder. There's some real detailed stuff in this die. I think this is going to be the most time-consuming part you have if you have a very detailed die, is getting all the little tiny pieces of protective paper off. But the good thing about doing your images first and doing your background last is you have a lot more give on just kind of putting it on there all at once. Whereas if you did the background first, if you were coloring with the blends, you take more chance of getting colors where you don't want them. Okay, there, we've got that butterfly done. Now I want him to be two-tone also. So I think I'm going to start with the darker, the orange, and I'm going to just sprinkle a little on there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. And you could do this with multiple colors. It would work. And then I want the tips of his wings to be orange. Or we could actually do, let me grab a red glitter. Let's see how that looks. So I'm going to try to put a little red on the, oops. I pulled off the lid and I guess we're having some red in him. And rub them in. A little red on the. So you're kind of painting with glitter is all you're doing. Rub it in. And I missed some of my you will find where you miss this right away because your glitter isn't going to stick. Tap this off on a piece of scrap. See, now you've done it with just glitter. And if you want, there we go, we'll just take some orange in here and add some highlight. So personally, I kind of like coloring my glitter. You have a little bit more control over where your colors are going than if you're just sprinkling color on there. I'm going to add a little dark highlights. Okay, I will speed this up and I'll go ahead and finish. Okay, there we go. We have all of those off. Now we could do it either way again, but I think I want to try doing, no, let's do the glitter way. Let's just do it. So I'm going to put some dark orange around the edges, or some orange. Now Now let's add the yellow, blend it in. I'm going to move it down to my next guy. And we'll tap this off on our scrap. And you can use that mixed glitter on another project. It'll work fine. Let's take our little dryer sheet. So if you have really vibrant glitters, this would just look amazing. But if you don't, and all you have is an orange or a yellow or clear, don't forget, you can use your Stampin' Blends and just add some highlights. I missed a piece of paper there. Grab a little pinch of glitter on my finger to cover that in. Yeah, you'll figure out really quick where you missed your getting your sticky off. There's another one right there. And then just grab a pinch of your leftover glitter and just rub it into it. I'm going to add some highlights on here. I'm just using my pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend. So I'd say it's probably easier to just use your clear glitter and color it. Color whatever colors you want. That's my recommendation after doing both ways. When I saw this and the two different ways to do it, I thought, well, I'll show you. And some people may like doing it one way versus another. Then I like to take and wipe off the tip before I close it back up. So take our brush. Our bright and colorful butterflies. Well, now we're going to take the backing off and just, you could do a colored background if you want, but I'm just going to do a clear glittered background. I picked a pretty detailed die set to do this tutorial with, but I just wanted to show you how pretty it comes out. I mean, anything shiny, right? You gotta love anything glittery. And of course, I'm absolutely covered in glitter, as is my dogs who were in here earlier playing. And now I'm just going to cover the whole thing with the Dazzling Diamonds, with the clear. And that'll get rid of all your sticky surface. You can just rub it over the whole thing. It's not going to stick where it's already been. And I like to look at mine to make sure there's not a lot of color or any color that was still rubbing off before I add it back to my regular Dazzling Diamonds. I don't want to contaminate it. And this part right here where I brush it off would probably contaminate my container. So I just do it on here and I can throw that away. Think how fun this is with Christmas cards. I've done it with Christmas cards where I've done a scene. Oops. I'll show you some of those here in a second. And look how pretty and colorful that is. It's just really amazing. And it's pretty simple. I mean, if you don't pick a really detailed die like I just did. But I did one where I just did a little flower, used the blue background, colored the flower, left white. Or I've done some scenery ones. Just blended some orange and blue to make sort of a sunset. And my deer, this is from Dashing Deer, and this is from In the Wood Dies. So you can do anything with it. It's kind of just left up to your imagination. But this right here, all by itself, mounted on even just a white on white or a light orange card base. And there you have it, add a greeting. I'll put that on the blog right after this video. Thank you for watching today. Today is the inlaid glitter technique and 2 different ways to do it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Happy stamping.